We're here. Finally. My second most anticipated movie of the year was Beauty and the Beast, and I just saw it today. And boy, can I say I loved this movie. For a quick little backstory, and this is going to be a both spoiler and non-spoiler review, all combined into one. It's easier to do it that way. There will be a warning, obviously, when the spoilers come up. So look out for that. So a little backstory. Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney movie. I owned the VHS years and years and years ago. Have the DVD now. I was in the play in middle school. I played the Beast. Loved that role. Still, I believe I have... Yep, right here. Actually, I do have a picture of myself. Yeah. Here we go. Insight, okay? This is the book. Right here. I keep this stuff on me as just memorabilia to hold on to. That is me. And that. And here's the program. Okay. I hold on to some of these things occasionally just to reminisce. And also as just like it's a good luck charm that I hold on to. And also the music's good to hold on to too. But there we go. There's that. I loved this movie so much. Okay, I don't know where to start. But, so, Beauty and the Beast is so special to me, okay? It's so special. It's like, it is the quintessential Disney movie. And when they said that they were going to reimagine it in live action and everything, I was not just skeptical. I was like, you better get this right. You better do this correctly. You better get a great cast. You better get a good director. You better do it right. And guess what? They did. They get Emma Watson to play Belle. They get Dan Stevens to play the Beast. They get Josh Gad and Ian McKellen and Ewan McGregor and Stanley Tucci and Luke Evans and all these people to play these characters, and they did it so daggone well. Non-spoilery what they did. They took that original movie and added stuff, added layers to it. And you probably watched the animated movie and you're like, what about that? This addresses that. Okay, it addresses that. That I'm talking about are some things I'll mention in the spoiler area of this movie. But let's just talk an overall non-spoilery. What did I love about this movie? One, the music. It's on point. The music's on point in this movie. It is a little different, and there are a couple of moments, again, where you're thinking they're going to hold out a note because that's the way they did it in the other version, and they don't hold that note out. The music is all the same, and I'm really glad there are other elements and new songs that they added to this. There are songs they don't sing, but if you know anything about Beauty and the Beast on Broadway, you know certain things are added, and you'll hear some interesting or familiar notes from other songs. There's one song in particular I wish Dan Stevens would have sang as the Beast, but he didn't. He sings another song, but there's that. It's awesome. It's awesome. If my nitpicky criticisms of the movie are, one, that the Beast CGI, it's okay. It's okay. At times it looks great. Then there's other times it's like, that's a CGI, monster, basically, a beast. And it's fine. That's fine. Just something I've noticed. This is a critic in me saying this stuff. Mind you, the kid in me, the middle schooler in me, this guy right here, should probably just cover her face. That guy right there, that guy doesn't care. That guy right there is loving this movie. Okay? Score. Here, I'm going to score for a second. 10 out of 10. Is it biased? Sure, I gave Force Awakens a 10 out of 10. That's probably more like a 9 out of 10 upon further viewing. But I love it. And it's not a shell-shock review because I did think about this throughout the day. I was talking to my parents who I saw the movie with, and from that opening shot, and I'll admit there were a couple of moments where I'm just like, it's okay. I'm liking this. I'm not loving certain things. I'm liking this. But if I actually think about it, I'm like, man, this movie added layers to this story. And I'll admit, I cried. I laughed, I cried, I cheered, everybody clapped at the end, and I hope this movie gets $200 million in its opening weekend, because it's worth it. If you had any skepticism about this movie going into it, do remember it's the same story you knew. It is the same story that you know, there's just some added layers to it. Okay, that's basically it. If you're at all worried about the movie, about Emma Watson's singing ability or anything like that, go see the movie and you'll find out for yourself. Spoiler talk. Again, I love this movie. Spoiler talk. What's new, Andrew? Andrew, what do they add? Well, okay, in the prologue in the animated movie, it just kind of through stained glass windows tells you what happens. This actually shows you visually. It actually shows you, and it adds a little bit of a song in the beginning. And, it adds a song to the beginning, and you actually see these events take place, and there's a bit of an understanding, and what they add to it, if you were thinking, wait, why in the world would the townspeople not, why in the world would they, there's a castle out there, the beast, they would wonder. Well, no, they wouldn't, because the enchantress set a spell to where they'd all forget. They'd all forget. I did just hit myself in the eye. When the curse was laid down, bam, a spell goes out, people forget what happens. And it comes around in the end, and everybody's like, this place looks familiar when they're attacking it. It's like I've been here before. It's like deja vu, man. And then when the curse is lifted, they're just like, oh my God, I know that person. They were a clock. They were a teapot. All these other things happen. So that's great. I'm glad that they added that one line. It's like, yeah, by the way, they all forgot about this place because of a spell. Okay, makes sense. They also, they add that Gaston is like this war hero type guy. And he's about being hero. And I'm jumping around the movie while I'm doing this. They add that, when Maurice goes in after the Gaston song, which was great in this movie, by the way, it's in a different key, but it's awesome. It's still great. And the slapsticky elements are still work, even though it's not hitting people over the head. It's still well done, The other elements that they added to that was, when Maurice comes in and is asking, there's a beast, there's a monstrous beast, and everybody's like, ha ha ha, whoa, and everybody's like, oh yes, Maurice will help you out, and they toss him outside. Well, no, in this, Gaston's like, you people have no soul. I'm gonna help you, Maurice. And they go out to look for Belle because obviously he cares about Belle. That actually adds something to Gaston. He does care about Belle. Almost to a fault, but he cares about her. And then eventually Maurice can't figure out the way to the castle, and we actually see this, which adds a bit more character to Maurice, which I like they add to in the beginning as well. They add that he had a wife. His wife dies, and I'll tell you about that in a second, but let's get back to this one little area. And Gaston leaves Maurice for dead, basically. Maurice comes back and is like, they go back to the tavern, LeFou and Gaston go back to the tavern, and he's sitting there, he's like, hey, you left me to die. And everybody else in the tavern's like, Gaston, what are you doing? And then he basically is like, and Gaston's like, you have no proof? Basically, they have no proof. They have no proof that this happened. And it's like, who's the witness? Who helped you? How did you survive and everything? And they're like, Agatha, and that's the town crazy person apparently. And like, oh, you're gonna trust her? No offense and everything. And that person, that Agatha character, ends up being the Enchantress, which again, they kind of twisted a bit. Glad they did that. Glad that they did that. They also twist, and I didn't catch it because I didn't notice the character's face in the beginning, but there were people that noticed it before I did, that character was the Enchantress. And I didn't, for some reason in my head, it just didn't click. I'm like, is it? And then by the end, I'm like, oh, okay, it is. So that ended up happening. What they add to Maurice's character, let's talk about Maurice for a second. They add a lot to his character. He has a wife that Belle obviously doesn't know about because she dies when Belle is a baby to the plague. The freaking plague, guys. Okay, wait a second. They add that. So the beast, instead of giving the magic mirror and the flower, the rose, the beast also gets a book that when he touches it and he thinks about a place where he wants to go, they're like transported there, like in like in not technically. I'm guessing physically they are transported there. Maybe they can't be seen, but physically they are transported there. Don't know how the semantics of that work. Doesn't really matter. They're transported there, and he finds a doctor's mask. That's one of those like bird-like masks. Well, guess what? Maurice's wife and Belle's mother died in the plague. And when I was like the first person in the theater to figure out, I'm just like, oh my god, no, that she died because of the plague. I'm like, no, oh my god, no. Don't do that to me. And what they make Maurice do is they make Maurice leave his wife alive. But for the safety of Belle, he leaves his wife to die. Guys, that's deep. And this is a children's movie too. That's deep stuff, and I loved that. I absolutely loved it. They added depth. They added emotion. And that was some great stuff. They add that the beast's father, after his mother dies, was a cruel man. And basically that's how the beast became the beast. I loved that stuff. They added character to him. He wasn't illiterate like he is in the other movie. He actually is someone he's very educated. He had a high education because he had money and everything. He had a high education, so he knows about the books, and that's something that they bond on. You actually get in there. In the original movie, I have to hurry up this because my phone's probably going to run out of memory in a second. What they do very, very well in the original movie is they go right from when the beast is, Belle is healing the beast's wounds to the song Something There. In this version, there's like 10 minutes that happens before that moment. What happens is they do the Something There, but that's like 10 minutes after she saves the beast with the wound and everything and all that stuff. Then there's a little bit more of a backstory going on. Everybody's kind of talking and everything about. Belle asks some questions like, so what is with this flower and everything? Why is the beast turned this way and everything? And they kind of give the backstory verbatim, kind of like it happened and everything. And they do that pretty well. They do that really well. I really liked that. What they also add is just they make them feel like they're in love. You understand why, and you really understand it. And I think across the board, it adds something to the characters. They add some characters in there. They add some stuff. And at the end, when they actually all do. You know how in the other version, she saves them and you don't see anybody turn back to anything. You actually you see them turn from the candlestick and the clock and all that stuff back into their human form. You see that happen. In this, they become objects. Okay. They become the objects. So basically, they're all like, no, and then the feather duster turns into an actual feather duster. Lumiere turns into a candelabra, and Cogsworth turns into a clock. And the worst one, Mrs. Potts turns into a pot, a regular teapot. Her face melts. Basically, her face just like disappears. Okay, her face just kind of like dissolves away. And then Chip. What they do with Chip in this is he kind of like him and his in the plate that he's on kind of like fly around. They can kind of like fly around a little bit. He can kind of like jump from place to place and kind of like flies around and like floats around a bit. That's a neat thing. In this, as that scene is happening where they're all turning into the objects, the thing that he's on falls and breaks, and he literally is about to fall and hit the ground as he turns into an object, a cup. And what happens, and right then and there, the coat rack catches him right before he falls. And you're just like, and I was sitting there, and I grabbed my mom's hand. I'm like, they almost killed Chip. They almost killed Chip! That ain't right, guys. You don't do that to me. You don't do that to me. And in the end, the Beast turns into Dan Stevens and everything, and they all turn back into each other and everything, and they all look great and everything. And I loved I loved this movie so much. It was so well done, and how the depth that they added to these characters really, really was fantastic. And I'm really glad that I was able to see it with my family. I wish I could have seen it with some other friends and everything, but this time and all these locations and everything obviously don't always match up. But I might even go back and watch it with some other people, because I cannot wait till this movie comes out on Blu-ray, and then I can watch it again over and over and over again, pause things and be like, look at that, and hear them all talk. Well, this is how we did this in the film and everything. This is what we wanted to do with the film. Now I'm going to go back and watch all the behind-the-scenes stuff that I never watched, because I was like, well, I didn't want to watch it because I didn't want to be spoiled for the movie, a movie I already knew how it ended, So that's that. Oh my God, the second anticipated movie of the year came out, and I'm loving it. Again, it's a 10 out of 10. I loved every second of this thing. Minor nitpicks, but you know me. I go with what my gut is telling me. And my gut is telling me, Andrew, you loved this movie. So that's that. Thank you guys for watching this non-spoiler spoiler review. Check out all my other videos. Check out all the other things. Check out that Facebook Live video I mentioned earlier in this video. As always, guys, thank you for watching. I got a couple more videos on the docket to work on, a Kong Skull Island video and a Logan video, as well as a 2005 Peter Jackson's King Kong movie to review as well. I'll probably even review the original 1991 Beauty and the Beast as well. Probably even do a commentary for it at some point. And yeah, guys, as always, thank you. I'm Andrew, the College Critic. Stay classy, go watch Beauty and the Beast, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.